Welcome to the show. Bass and Bonsai, not out on the water. Me and Charles got out on the water, and I got out on the water the day before that. Caught some fish. That'll be coming up. I'll talk about that briefly. But today, right now, it's going to be a very quick video. I know, somebody's laughing already. Nobody's even watching yet. But quick live stream. I'm just going to show you, give you my rundown on the reels we've had so far. I know a lot of guys are leery about buying something, first of all, from AliExpress. And then you're like, well, yeah, what kind of quality am I going to get? How long is it going to last? So some of these reels here before you had a couple years, over a season. Now some of them are brand new, but we've had others in the past, and the good, the bad, the ugly kind of deal. But we got a quick unboxing to do, and then I'm going to go give you the rundown on what we have and haven't fished. And then when I'm saying we, as in me and Charles, half these reels I'm going to talk about, I had them, just made a deal with Charles. He fished them that season or whatever, and I got them back, or that kind of thing. One of these here is still Charles's, and then this one's still Charles's. We got a swap going on. I'll talk about that in a minute too. But and also stay tuned for a future video. I'm going to be coming back and tearing into this clamber, but more on that later. Without further ado, one of you guys watching, hallelujah. All right, we're going to start then. All we need is one person. We're going to do an unboxing that you guys never saw coming. Or wait, yeah, you did. AliExpress. Charlie bought something from AliExpress. Yeah. No surprise there. So what we have right before you from Stream Angler. Close to nature, enjoy life, right? Words to live by. Let's, what is that? That is nothing. Oh, do you guys see what that is? We have a shiny, pretty red drag star. What is this going? As you're looking like for the clamber? No. Unfortunately, Charles decided he don't want to mess with that, but that actually, Charles, that would, one of those would look good on there. Of course, you need this and then the other pieces to make that work. That will fit directly on the Daiwa that's got the spring-loaded type. And you will need the spring and then a little nut that goes on if you guys wanted to try to adapt one of these onto your reels. Fortunately for me, this part we won't use because it won't fit. I don't think it'll fit almost any of these other reels. But hang on one second. I do happen to have the reel right here that this is going on. And it is one we'll be talking about. The MK9. It is a LingL variant, shallow and deep spool. I got the shallow spool. Charles, I need the deep spool. Deep spool is red, but is basically just the same as this spool that is for the other LingL variant, which is that reel. But as you can see, that's the stock one, and this one is just going to be that much bigger as far as how far it'll stick out. You know, a little easier access to adjust the drag. I know a lot of you guys are like, oh, well, then it's just easier to get hit or whatever, but yeah, then they just look cooler. And yeah, that guy's got it. A lot of my reels, I'm kind of putting this on them. $15 off AliExpress. It takes another, unfortunately, close to $15 to get the parts to get one of these. But if you do have a Daiwa, and this is kind of a knockoff of the ZPIs. I'm not even sure what they actually brand they call these. It's called several different things from several different stores off AliExpress. But the match of the color is actually real close. If anything, I'd call this a touch lighter of red, but it's about the same as in there. Out here, this is probably a little darker even than those. So it's very close to the spools. I'm looking in there. The spool color is about the same. So it'll go right on. I think, in my opinion, make it look a little better. And so that's what I bought it for, because I have decided to keep this reel. And you can ask Charles, for those of you that talk to Charles here and there on some of the Facebook groups or whatever. When we first got this reel, I had issues with it, and I've talked about it before, the fact that it's the higher gear ratio. It just never seemed to, I don't know, just the retrieve and everything seemed a little off, and then we did some other stuff to it. But I love this reel now. I put the this reel caught a giant. You're going to see an upcoming video this week. I went out Saturday And the old, this is a Teton 6.6, well, it used to be 6.61. It's now kind of a 6.5-ish one. And you're also going to see Charles bought the 6.6 two-piece. And unfortunately, maybe fortunate, unfortunately, it is not the true 100% the exact action, taper, power, in my opinion, than the 6.61. I was hoping they were exactly the same. And you'll see in the video, but it's basically got a little faster tip and stiffens up with a touch more backbone. I guess just the fact that it's two-piece, but it is not 100% the same. So those of you that maybe if you could track down a one-piece still, because there's a couple places still that I've seen them online. Eugene still has 2 of the 6.61s. He's been trying to sell me for like 2 years now. If you have the 6.6 two-piece and you kind of wouldn't mind something with a little stiffer tip yet more moderate in the midsection, track you down a one-piece. That's what you're going to get. And you'll see, wait for the upcoming video, we've kind of flexed them side by side, and you see the flex a little different, but they're very close. They'll throw basically the same thing. So anyway, MK9, awesome reel, and you'll hear me talk about the magnets. I'll show you in this reel. This reel and this reel, same deal on a little magnet change up, kind of like what we did with the Dark Wolf Ultra when they first came out with the dynamic brakes. So anyway, one more thing that's going to be put on. Oh boy, I got a lot of work to do. I got to work on Charles' reel. I got to do a swap with mine and Charles' reel. I got to get this put on, all within a week. I know. And I have a day job though. I can't like just sit here and do it. So here we go. Here's a box. Now what's funny is I'm going to show you. This bottom was about ready to fall off anyway. And I looked in here. The only thing in here is this right here. So, right here. So let me throw that box out of the way. They ship this thing about the way I'd ship something. No tape. Just a little bit of wrap in an empty box. And they just let this wrap and it held, thankfully. It was still wrapped up. So we've got, this is a spool. This is the deep spool out of the LingL, which is the LingL. The Xinghe LingL that is got the fixed brakes just like these guys. So it should fit right in. I have not tried it. It should be, what it should do is it should be a better all-around spool than this guy. This guy we've done fine. I went out, I caught some nice fish with this dude. This dude caught a monster, another one. So be looking forward to that video. But with that spool filled full of 20-pound braid, went out, handled the job like a champ. But I'm going to probably put, I don't know where I'm going to put this one in, because I'm doing so well with this reel. I'm using it to throw the chatterbaits with the 20-pound braid, or I could put 15 or whatever. I just put the 20 because the blue looked kind of weird on the all black in my opinion. So I put the 20-pound braid with 15-pound leader, 6.9 medium heavy rod, just slinging the baits. And it was actually slinging a 3/4 ounce booyah hard knocker. That's what got the big fish. But anyway. So I wanted to weigh these, and I'm just filling them. This is way lighter than this spool. So this should be even filled up, like, and I could also just not fill it up all the way because it's 34 millimeters, and then a little ways down, I could fill it about halfway, kind of in that 32 millimeter type spool range, and throw BFS, and then also regular stuff. You know, just put enough line in it that a super long cast with a regular, size 3/8 ounce bait on a, say, 15-pound braid. So anyway, let's weigh them up in case you guys, because you can get this spool for 30 bucks if you want to buy just a spool. I know you can buy the whole reel and what comes with this spool for 75 bucks. That's probably the way I should have went. Let me move this reel out of the way. We'll talk about that after we get this. I just want to see, I'm curious for myself, is why I'm like hurrying up doing this. So 0 grams, this is, and they both have bearings and they look to be the exact same bearing, should weigh the exact same. This dude, so even before you put line on, just by getting enough line on this one to make it match up to this one, you're going to talk, it's going to be more weight. But that spool is actually not real light, right? 13.25 grams. So not a crazy, I mean, for it works, but it's not super light. This spool right here is supposed to be crazy light. 7, look at that. Oh my goodness, that is almost half the weight. 7.82. Now I probably don't want to put 20 pound on that thin of a waffle type spool. So I'm just up in there. I may rig it with, but look at that. That still has a bearing, which I guarantee you weighs like over a gram. So that is a crazy lightweight, plenty BFS capable, even probably halfway filled up with line. So I could probably fill this up halfway with 10 pound, get away with throwing all kinds of everything, like having all around BFS and regular stuff. If this magnetic thing, the way I've got it rigged up with the magnets, and it should be. So let me show you that real quick too. So I may go ahead and order one of those deeper spool LingLs. Like right now you can get them. They're only, just look up LingL and you'll just keep looking, search around the store. You'll find the one that says it's only like $75. But I had to add the magnets, those little bitty dudes. We added those little 1/2 millimeter by 4 millimeter by 1/2 millimeter that like we did on the Dark Wolf Ultra. Put them in this, game over. Thing works just better. It lets you be less into the, because the other way you had to almost have them turned totally up, and even though it's turned down more, it still just works better. Like I was all the way down to 3, zinging some big baits. I'd probably go a little higher if I was throwing lighter baits, but yeah, awesome working reel now. It and the MK9, just by that magnet upgrade, and then I just tore the MK9 apart several times and re-lubed it and oiled it with our good grease, and it seems good. So now that's just the deal clicking. Hang on, let me fix that. And this is a shallow spool that's in it. What's funny is that shallow spool isn't much lighter than that, but it does hold less line. So if I was doing true BFS only, shallow spool takes the cake on these style. Like you can get the LingL in with the gold spool. If you want to do BFS only, that's the way I would probably recommend to go. But if you want an all-around general purpose, like say 10 pound test, I don't know if I'd put anything bigger than 10. 10 pound, I guarantee you that spool will work. I put 10 pound on a lot of these other BFS spools. So 10 pound braid, 10 pound regular line. I definitely would not be afraid to get out and fish with this spool, but it is crazy light. So I can't decide if I want to mess with changing this reel up. So I may just go ahead and I don't even know what to do. I could put this in the, I don't know. I'm up in the air now. Because I kind of like this for my chatterbait rod, 15 pound. If I put this in it, I would kind of move it to the medium moderate with 10 pound. Like that's what I have my Steez Nasty right now, the Steez Limited. This is a lot cheaper way to go. You could buy that deep spool LingL, probably do what any other reel will do in the world for real, all around for 75 bucks. But yeah, awesome choices we have there now in some of them. And that's kind of why I traded Charles back for these. There are several versions. If you guys don't know about the LingL and all that stuff, you can go back and watch my videos. But when I first got it, I got the one and kept it. Got another one, and then started getting some of the variants. Like they had one called the Turquoise Fox. Unfortunately, can't get more with the green frame. Did a swap with it and the LingL, and we came up with the Joker, and then this thing, which there's still green in there. All I did was use a black Sharpie and Sharpied the green, so it'll start probably fading back, but I liked it better than the green. But then this reel does have brass gears, and I'm not 100% sure what the deeper spool LingL, the LingL that you'll see this spool on, I can't remember if it's, and I don't know if they even tell you or show you if it's got brass or aluminum gears. I myself prefer aluminum just to make it lighter, but these are crazy smooth also. Typically brass gears are going to be a little smoother, just a little more weight, but this reel does feel awesome. So on our talking about the review, if I have not I think it wasn't this reel, but it was the Turquoise Fox, which is technically the Joker frame now because I didn't switch that stuff. One of those had an issue with the thumb bar feeling funny. It was that reel, the Joker. It was like the green frame, in the process of painting it or something, they goofed something somewhere. And if you guys remember right, and I remember Jay, we talked about it, I tore that reel apart and put it back together, I don't know how many times, and I found one little gunk of crud inside there that I cleaned it, and I think it's fixed it. But so as far as any issues and we have 4, I fished with them, sold all of them or traded or whatever with Charles, and then he fished them like all last season, and then I traded him back. I don't think I've yet to take this one apart and service it, and that's probably why it's quite as free as it is, but it's like quiet and it's free and it just works. This one, which was the turquoise fox, 2 of the LingLs, and the MK9, which is they're all LingL variants, same pretty much everything other than the magnetic system, and the spools are slightly different. No issues with any of them other than I mentioned that one, but it kind of fixed itself for me, just taking it apart and putting it back together, kind of like the MK9 just feeling freer. So now it probably doesn't feel that free as the 7-to-1 gears. The 8-to-1 gears, they just have a little more, they're smooth now, but they're just not that smooth. This one and the original LingL I bought are still probably the smoothest, even over the Joker and then MK9. But fully working, functional, no issues. That's why I can highly recommend those reels. There's a Crony on there now. You can look up Crony, Crony. You'll see a pinkish looking version, which basically has a FTB style braking, and then there would be a green one, which looks nothing like what the turquoise fox look like. And it's more money for whatever reason. The Crony right now, the pinkish one you can get for $80. So I say that one should be a good reel for that price. The green one's $128. I don't know if I'd pay that much for one. $100 probably all day long. When you can get them for $75-$80, definitely. If I didn't, if I needed reels, that's probably what I do. I don't need any more reels. So, plus, been a whole season pushing them pretty hard, and I've fished my the original LingL a lot before I did any swapping around with Charles as I was getting the others. So they're still holding up good. Wait for the video where you see me catching fish with this one. Anyway, this reel is one of the, if you guys remember right, let's talk real quick before we talk about variants. Back in the day, the Dark Wolf Ultra came out, which was last year. I call it back in the day. The Black Knight 2, which mine is still down at the lake, and Charles wants to buy it as soon as I get back because it has the dynamic braking system. This one doesn't. This is one of the brand new ones that I just bought and sold Charles, so we're going to swap around. But I had one with the dynamic system. Charles bought one. His buddies got one. I bought another one. Wait. With the dynamic system. I can't remember, but we've each had one for a whole season. I've not had any issues out of that one until I traded it to Charles for one of his that he had just bought with the non-dynamic, so I could still basically have what you guys can go buy right now. And then the Black Knight 2, have not had an issue with those. The first issue was, and there's really no point in talking about it now because you can't get them like that anymore, but let's talk about it real quick. Just like I showed you them brakes on the other one. If you come across one and you put something metal on this, and it's dynamic, meaning that these will literally come up and down, this moves, then you'll need to get those little 4 by 0.5 millimeter. You'll need to put 3 on each side. Leave the very back on the part that doesn't lift up. Where it lifts up, go 1, 2, 3. And where it lifts up, go 1, 2, 3. With those little magnets, boom. That made that one work. What they did to counteract that, they just pushed them up from the factory, basically put a little molding in there that they can't go back down. So they're all the way already up, even with this little ring. And that just worked. It may not be quite down to, say, when you get in a 1 gram thing, you might be able to see a difference between this and the dynamic system. But it just worked. It made the adjustments where you can set them, cast them, and everything works. It just works. Everything works good. So anyway, the Dark Wolf Ultra, the Black Knight 2, then they had variants come out that they changed away from the braking system. So you can get the Micro Monster and then the Acura, same frame as you'll see in another video. You can switch out parts and all that kind of stuff, but the side internal parts, even the side plates, are the same on some. These two, the Acura and the Micro Monster, the frames were more copied off the Black Knight 2. The molding of the frame. See how they got the front piece here, little cutouts here, and they've got a sharper edge. The Dark Wolf Ultra is a smoother, more like just like the, looks just kind of like the Corrado BFS, right? The 70 series Corrados. Got a cutout on top, but not down here. A little smoother, sticks out maybe even a little further. More like a matte color. So they have not made a copy of that true frame, but as you'll see, you can interchange a lot of that stuff. So these are also reels. So far, I put this one through. I was throwing the chatterbaits and everything on it, no problem. I think it can hold up to almost 15-pound test. I wouldn't go anything over that. You go over that. This one with this spool, 20 pounds should be no problem. You know, they're graphite or plastic or whatever you want to call it frame, so you can't go crazy. I wouldn't put 65-pound braid and go frogging with crazy tight. Now I'll still use it for frog run stuff, but I only go up to about 20 pounds. So if you're wanting to go crazy, you know, 40 or bigger braid, I can't really recommend any graphite or plastic. They probably will hold it, but I'm not going to tell you to go do it. You know, the old Black Max could probably hold up. Now I wouldn't definitely try it to do it with if you have any of them that have the BFSE type spool. So to show you what I'm talking about, that all those variants will interchange, here's what I've already done. And I'm going to do another version for Charles again. So I switched out because I wanted the dark. I would have liked to have the side piece too if it was silver, but so I like the Dark Wolf Ultra frame. So before I sold off my other ones I had, I kept one of them and I put it on my other Acura. So I had this. So this is everything Acura except the frame. So it still does have, or no, wait, sorry. This is, I switched out because this was my Dark Wolf Ultra that I kept. So I have the Dark Wolf Ultra spool, the guts, and everything. Now this is the non-dynamic one. So it still has, just like that one I just showed you. It looks kind of like an Acura, but it's not. It has this style braking and this, but with the silver. So I've got the double cutouts, which in my opinion, they should be made like this, with this part here rounded off like this. So you can see the difference, just how much smoother the transition is. It'd make it just palm that much easier. And then the cutouts should be on top and bottom, in my opinion. It just makes it look, I mean, that just looks better. Now, what's funny, right? We all have our own opinion. Charles likes it the other way. So, just like this one was the leftovers of the first original deal I did on this one, when I swapped them out, I put that silver frame with the Dark Wolf Ultra side plates and nose piece, but it has the two dual spool and all this, just like what this Acura does right now. And Charles liked it, so he kept it. I was going to sell it. So the what we're doing now is Charles is going to have, because right now Charles has an Acura with Dark Wolf Ultra side plates and nose piece. So when he gets done, he's going to have a Dark Wolf Ultra with the Acura frame, but it's going to be the guts and everything of the Dark Wolf Ultra. So I'm taking all of these guts and I'm keeping them in this reel, because this is one I'm still testing. Even though I'm going to change the frame, I even do the thumb bar. I'm going to switch out the thumb bar. If you guys didn't pay attention, that's the hardest thing, because you got to tear it all the way down to get that thumb bar. So the thumb bar, all the guts, everything, spools, side piece in here is going to, will interchange. They've switched right over this piece. If you notice that, even though this is the side plate of the Acura, that is the internal parts out of a Dark Wolf Ultra. They will unbolt there. You just take out the that bearing. There's a little thing under that for the spool to like hit on. and then when that pops out, there's just a Phillips head screw, and then that unscrews, and then the dial and everything. You could literally take it out, switch it, and never have to make an adjustment on this. You don't have to mess with none of that. That part's not really complicated. The hardest part is to get the thumb bars switched out, because I just like them better like this. I mean, you could have left it black, but I think it adds more to it. And I left this black because this end piece definitely matches up. It's the same exact color as the spools on the dual spool one, the Acura. So I will keep that on mine anyway, but I'm switching when we're going this way, it makes it a little easier. So anyway, that's what we're going to do on that. And having said that, I can recommend, I don't think we're going to see any issues out of these reels. They've got, I think I put almost half a season on this one. I've done, like, it's just awesome reel. And you're going to see coming out in a cast test, this one with the deep spool, this one with the spools on it, which is the deep spool. I did a cast test. Now these don't need any changes at the magnet. It's just stock magnet setup. These little deep spools or shallow spools, man, they are good spools. They're lightweight, little bitty, small. So it's just like, this is a non-backlashing machine that you can put power to. And I quietened them down by I just coated them, the spool bearings. I just squeezed like 3 to 5. I just put a lot of drops of this Lucas oil in there, because this one was making a little, I was casting so hard you could hear them spool bearings just wow. So I just doused them. Went out, matched up with this reel. It was harder to get it there, but I got it to match up with this one, and it was only about a meter behind our high JDM stuff on cast test. So these are awesome reels. I do recommend them. Now our other reels, I don't know. I didn't keep this one. Here's a Clamber. Now this is a reel we got to work on for Charles, because I want you guys to listen to Clamber. And if you guys remember, I had this reel, and I got rid of it to Charles. At the time, there was no issues with it. It's got a small issue now. I think I'll be able to fix it, and I'm going to do that in a separate video. But this thing, when you tighten the drag down about where it needs to be, and I got it working a little bit just by not even turning apart, but the drag clicker quit working. So I just loosened the drag and messed with it. And you hear it now. Well, here's what I think happened, but stay tuned for the other video. I think that little, and I don't even know what, I can't remember if these were carbon or whatever, the little pad that goes in between where the two clicker pieces go, I think was already probably so thin, it just over time from slippage, it just got to the point where it mashed it from the drag being tight. So I think all I need to do is go in and replace that, or I may be able to take one and then, or double it to make it a little thicker to where you can still tighten the drag tight, but you have to clicker so that it gets to where you can't hear it if you tighten the drag enough. But it's still clicking. I can hear it when you loosen it. I don't think the clicker's goofed up, and that's the kind with the arms that bend down, so I should be able to fix that real easy for Charles. But other than that, this reel has also performed no problem. I mean, it still works fine. It's just the clicker thing kind of got quiet. But it's still very good working reel. If you guys don't know about the Clamber, you can go back and watch my unboxing videos on it. Oh boy, I can't get the side plate off. I can't get it apart, Charles. I ain't gonna be able to work on it. I do think I remember this thing being tight. So it's got the regular style braking, just several magnets over here, like that. Nothing fancy. But this one worked good too. It's got that fairly lightweight spool. But if you guys remember right, I think oh, but I got some line in there. I think it was a real test. Is who we. I think he had an issue with his. Somehow he ended up with 2. I think at one time these Clambers were going for 150. Then they went down. They were about 100. I think you can get them for like under 100, 80, 90 bucks. I still am not a true fan of these, where they try to narrow up the spools. I'm just not a huge fan of those. They work fine. I don't know. Just I would call this close to a Abu Garcia like feel. Still a good reel though. the clambers, and they do. You can get these in a deeper spool. Like the clambers have a few different variants as far as they're not really BFS only. They've got a, I think they got like a hyper long cast type one, a regular spool, stuff like that. But we're going to tear into it. Stay tuned for that video. So I don't really know if I can tell you that they're worth that getting it, because in my personal opinion, with the aluminum frame, it should last longer. But the picks out of all of these would probably still go to the Acura. I called it in my best AliExpress reel of 22. I still have to stick with that. Probably going to be the best out of 23. Few reasons why I like it over the Micro Monster, mainly that you can get whatever gear ratio you want with the dual spool. This one you can only get like 7:3 to 1 dual spool. 8 to 1 is a darker color, different BFS spool. So just that little fact, they're basically the same thing. I still put this one above it just because it's that much easier to get what you want when you're ordering it. And usually this one's a little easier to find, a few dollars cheaper than this guy for some reason. But I honestly think I'm going to like this spool better than all these other spools. So basically a LingL variant, because that thing is crazy. It's a full-size spool. It has like a mid-depth. It's not BFS. It's not shallow spool, but it's not any of the, it's like shallower than say a Daiwa SV spool or the MGL spools. I'm guessing the spool line is probably going to be close to like an MGL 30 maybe size. Probably a little more than that, but man, this thing, I'm expecting this thing to perform awesome. So at some point I'll put it in, I don't even know which one. This one or the MK9, or it's a possibility I'll put the LingL. I could put this in the Joker. I could put the LingL guts that are basically making up the Joker right now into say this one, and then put this in the Joker if I want to use it as an all-around, or my original LingL. I could do the same thing. You could do that swap. So anyway, stay tuned for that. So before I get out of here, this is already a half-hour some video. Officer Dangle. Well, glad you joined us, Officer Dangle. AliExpress rod you use the most. Well, that's easy. The Teton 661 I just showed you guys. Like if I had to pick, you can only go buy one AliExpress BFS or just one BFS rod, period, that you could fish with. This Kind Teton 661 is the one I like. Charles just bought the 662. You guys have seen the video like I talked about at the beginning of this video. It's just a touch faster tip, a little softer tip, and then the backbone's maybe a little stouter than this. This is more of a parabolic, like moderate over the 662 piece. But the Tetons are by far still my favorite BFS rod, and they happen to come from AliExpress. When you could get the one piece, they were $100. You know, the shipping, they charge more. I want to say the two piece to this day right now, you can maybe find it for $75, but sometimes it's up there a little higher. Kind Teton rods started out very cheap on AliExpress, and then I think they gained in popularity. There's a portal place, I can't think of the name of it, they still have the one pieces. But anyway, if not the Teton, have you tried? No, I haven't tried, Jay Brown. Nope, he retracted. He's like, never mind. I don't know. So anyway, but still, maybe my best pick for BFS would probably be the CU Double. That would be my next one. That, like, I have it now. I got it. Got rid of Charles. Got it back. Charles ordered another one, so that can tell you that Ace Hawk CU Double. That's one worth getting. It's only like $37. It can't beat the overall of what the 661 Teton can do, but it comes with two tips, and it's a more in BFS game covered. Ultralight BFS, because it's got an ultralight tip and a light tip, but it can't go up as high as that Teton. That Teton, which you'll see in a video, I just caught a monster on a shaky head, which is the VMC. You guys have seen it, the finesse rugby jig. It's basically a 2/0 light wire hook, and that tetton's got just enough juice to get a good hook set. Like I can use it for that, but I could take it creek and stream fishing if I wanted to. It probably throws a lighter bait better than some of these other rods, but then it just doesn't let a little fish put up much of a fight. That Teton doesn't, it'll power in a pretty big fish. But it's got a full flat. It's just an awesome rod. I'm telling you, Charles is like, I should have bought this long. I was like, I know, Charles. He's watched me. He watched me catch my personal best bass has been caught on this Teton. I just caught another giant on it, and he just now, this like a couple weeks ago, is when his Teton he ordered finally, he broke down, like I guess would have been a month ago, coming from AliExpress, and bought one of these Tetons, because these things, they work good, guys. They're more expensive than a CU double. CU double works awesome too. So anyway, oh dude, I still got to talk about this. Here is the reel that caught my personal best. It's actually a PW 100. It wasn't even a pro. You can tell by this piece it wasn't purple. I put the purple spool on it, and I don't even remember when I caught my personal best if I had the spool in it or the stock spool. But this reel was, the awesome reel. Very lightweight. It was the lightest one coming out of AliExpress for the longest time. It's had two issues over its 3 years or how long I had it. It had this thing go out of it. I just had one right here. Hang on. Hang on. Hang on. I'm going to find it. I was just looking at that piece. This isn't the exact one that went out of it. I think this is out of one of my big reels. But the anti-reverse roller bearing went out, right? So it just started slipping. Like shortly after, not much long after I caught my personal best largemouth bass. So I tracked, I think the one that is in it now, I tracked down, and it works very good. It was only like $2.50 off AliExpress. So you can find, if something does go wrong on some of these AliExpress reels, you can find parts on AliExpress or, all over. Some of that stuff is universal, certain little stuff. So the instant anti-reverse did go out, like it went out. There was no fixing it. So I installed that other one. Once I tracked it down, no problem. Takes a little tracking sometimes. The other issue that I just noticed I started having, and I don't know what is going on, if I goof something up, but this screw was too long. And so I think all the screws are supposed to be the same size. But anyway, this screw screwed all the way in was binding up. It was running into my thumb bar. Well, in the process, I loosened it up now, and I fixed that. But then sometimes that thumb bar stopped going up all the way. And this is something that just happened. This thing is set for months or however long, so I may just need to completely dismantle it, service it, put it back together. But I'll be honest, I think I'm just gonna retire it. Now these are the side plates off of a turquoise fox. They're turquoise looking, right? But no, this is the Spirit Fox side plates. I switched out before I sold that reel to Charles. Charles still has the Spirit Fox in service, using it. He's not had any issues out of that reel. So if you spot a Spirit Fox on there, an old PW100, I believe you can still get the PW100 Pro. It'll be all purple and a silver reel. It'll say, I think it says PW100 Pro maybe still, but I wouldn't recommend them now just because it's a little older technology. I would jump to one of these other ones, but they're still good reels. But this one definitely has another issue that I don't know what it is for sure. I can't think of, unless, I don't know. Unless there's still a burr or something in here from that grinding on it. Maybe I need to take that off and sand that out smooth again would solve it. Either way, I know I could fix it no problem, but I think I'm going to retire this reel for sure. I kind of retired and I brought it back out and I'm like, I ought to use it again. I'm like, no, dude, you got too much of everything else. So anyway, stay tuned. Comment if you guys want to, if it would be a dig, if you really want to watch me do the swap on this. It's really pretty simple. The hardest part is, like I said, the thumb bars. The other stuff is pretty simple. I'll probably just do it and show you the finished results. But I am going to go ahead and slap together a quick video so you guys can see the inside of the clamber and exactly what, you know, what happens after a full season. Charles, I don't know if you've ever even wiped this reel off, Charles. It is dusty and dirty. His tight tolerances, sometimes you got to watch how the line is on it. So you don't do that too much. I think this has got not a double supported deal. Hyper Micro Clamber. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Oh wait. Officer Dangle ordering CU double now. Yeah, they're good reels. No. Have I tried the Shimano Sense Light? No, because I didn't even bother to try to get that, because when I start looking for something, some of you guys recommend something, and two things will keep me from getting something. One, you guys know I'm tight to price. Two, just how hard it is to get. If I can't just click on a couple different places and go find one, why is the point in me trying to track down something hard to find that's going to be hard for you guys to find? That's kind of why I don't even mess with trying to get a 661 Teton anymore, because they're just hard to get. You know, if one of you guys really wanted to look for one, I'd try to, but I'm not going to sit and go and test and use stuff, because then at what point if it were to accidentally break and then I try to find it again? Kind of like baits. Like once a bait's kind of outdated, I really don't like messing with, and I'll talk about that real quick before I get out of here. So the Booyah Hard Knocker, you guys are going to see that bait kicked in again, but I can only get it in a 1 knocker 3/4 ounce. I cannot find, other than on eBay, the Booyah Hard Knocker in Toledo Gold 3/4 ounce. I can find the 1 knocker, which seems to work fine too, because I caught some nice fish on it. No problem, Officer Dangle. Make sure, like, subscribe, share with your friends and people you don't like too. They need to watch Bass and Bonsai. Ordering the Acura as well. Yeah, the Acura is an awesome reel. The yeah, if you're getting a CU double, the Acura's got gold on it. You may want to get a gold highlighter too to add to it. That Acura probably look real good on there. Now it doesn't come with those knobs. Do I even have any Acura knobs? Yeah, I do somewhere. All of these Dark Wolf Ultra and all of them come with all these knobs, which I tried to use them and tried to talk myself into them. I don't like none of this flat. When it's that flat, I don't like the Shimano. Me and Charles were talking about that, the Arise reel. He's like, I like those knobs. I'm like, yeah, I don't. Whether they're the Shimano, Daiwa, or all that newer stuff, I like those right there. I like these right here. Not super big, but not this. So first thing I take off most of mine. If you guys may wonder why this one I left alone, because it's got the cool things in between. And this reel is probably going to Maddie. I think Matt's going to buy it for Maddie with one of my purple rods for her to fish with. So I won't have any Micro Monsters. I'm going to just have this one. I'm going to have these two. They're basically, I'm going to have a Dark Wolf Ultra, which this is. Dark Wolf Ultra with Acura side plates and stuff, kind of like I did here with this. And then I'm going to have the regular Acura with Dark Wolf Ultra frame. So, best of both worlds. Reels that look identical, except for the spools will be different. Charles will have the opposite way because he liked it the opposite way. So, to end on this, now this one's a 95. There's a funny story with that. The crazy Luz lady sent that to me. I just messaged Luz and went, I need to get one of these knob handle assemblies to get them the part number. Okay, I need a shipping address. Send it to. They never even charged me nothing. She just sent it to me. I'm like, that lady's crazy. Anyway, the you say Fish USA. If you guys are wanting them, I've heard good things about them. I mean, I wouldn't have it. The Sense Light, I think it wasn't at the Reel Test that used that one or had it. I'll be honest, it doesn't really look like a. The looks of the rod don't impress me. I'm sure it'll probably work good. but it seems hard to get, in my opinion. But Jay Brown's saying that Fish USA has them in stock. So if you guys have been thinking about a Sensolite, I'm not going to get one. I don't need any more rods. I went fishing with 9. I had 3 regular combos, 2 that you could call like Power BFS or BFSy, and then like 2 BFS combos, and I still had 7 or 8 rods sitting here after I've sold I don't know how many rods, took some down for Charles to sell. I'm still not in that like if I'm going just like I talked about. I guess I'm going to talk about that and then I'm going to get gone. If I want to go, conservatively, money wise, ultralight, light creek and stream fishing. If I want to go super ultralight or very ultralight, I'm going either just like that high dollar rainy stream, or I'm going with the Kind Teton super ultralight, right? That 522 SUL. If I'm going ultralight or just general BFS but can handle everything, that you can't beat the CU double. So if I want to all around everything, just a BFS fish with, it'd be a CU double. It's only 6 foot, but it just does everything. I like that rod. If I could only have one though to do a lot of different stuff, it'd be the Teton 6.6 1 or 2. Even the one Charles had feels pretty good. I like it over the 6.32 that I had before. I would probably actually pick it maybe even over the 522 SUL unless I was only going to little creeks and streams catching little fish. You can't beat that little fun rod, 522. But up from that, I'm liking this Carbon Light 2.0. They make the 6.6 or the 7 foot in a medium light, and that thing it's a little stouter than the Teton, but it's a good lightweight all around kind of stuff. More like a bass BFS. Like for you guys, and that's kind of a thing when you're talking about Kind Tetons and CU doubles and that kind of stuff. You can throw some bass baits. You could use. I can use. I've done it with the Teton. The light rods, you can kind of get in that realm of bass BFS stuff. But really, what most people, and if you're wanting to, and you're getting on real big bass, unless you just want the sport of it, which is fine, that medium light, like we've had some of the, oh shoot, that rod Jay recommended to me that I broke one, bought 2, broke one, sold Charles, he has the other one. Karza 2, that is an awesome like those medium light. This Carbon Light 2.0 seems good, and there's several medium light rods you can get locally or whatever. That's kind of where that Power BFS, you're into BFS, what a lot of bass guys are going to be throwing. When you start getting into those lights, and definitely an ultralight, you're talking panfish, trout, small creeks and streams for bass, or guys just wanting to go out, catch the biggest fish possible on the lightest gear, almost insane, because we've done it. You guys have seen me do it and stuff like that. Eddie's like, the Sensolite is a very unattractive rod. Yeah, I know. That's what I saw it, and I'm like, I tried to get one when I very first back. I don't know. That rod's been talked about for a while now. I saw him, wasn't impressed with the looks. I've heard good things about him, so I tried to track one down back whenever. I'm like, dude, these are too hard to try to get. I'm like, I'm not jacking with it. If I can't go, but if Fish USA has them, you guys are interested in them, it should be pretty good. If I had one to try that I didn't have to spend the money for, I wouldn't mind trying one of the Dobbins. And they make several different versions. I would probably get the shortest one that I could get that's under 7 foot. And at some point I may get one just to try. But because the 6'6" was a $120 rod. The Dobbins is 160 or 80 or something like that. But I don't know if it'd be any better than this rod I got just for general all-around stuff. And me and Charles were talking about this. And then I'm definitely out of here, guys. I'll be back tonight with a video. I'll be talking while I'm tearing into this here shortly. But me and Charles were talking about this. He's like, once he started using his, we were fishing on yesterday. And he was like, why don't they make, I wish they made a whole lineup of Tetons into the regular bass stuff. I'm like, yeah, I don't know why they didn't. They don't. And one of you guys may comment if one of the other Teton or Kaying lineups is closer. But I had, if you guys remember right, I had the Conquerors, one-piece Kaying Conquerors, because the Tetons were so good. I got the Conquerors thinking, man, these are going to be good too. Those are fragile pieces of crap. I broke almost every one of them. I sold the other one to Jeremy fairly cheap. I don't know. I guess he hasn't broke it. And I told him, I go, don't put anything over what the line rating or what the lure weight says. And I know somebody's going to go, well, what if you did that? You deserve to have it broke. No, dude, listen. These kind Tetons can handle way over their rating. Most of my rod, like the carbon lights, can handle way over what they say. A good rod can go above and beyond. Yeah, there's a certain limit. But I'm telling you right now, those kind Conquerors were like, if it said up to half ounce and you threw a half ounce hard, you're probably going to snap it into casting. Like they were fragile. They were not good. They were nothing near what a Teton is. The Tetons are awesome. They're good blanks. I wish they would use that blank material and make, 6'6" and up, light, medium heavy, stuff like that. I would definitely look into getting me that lineup also to have, maybe not as my everyday rod, but for certain, a couple here or there for certain techniques, because that's a good, made out of good quality blank material. It's just, they're good. So anyway, I gotta go. I'll be back. Thanks for watching, guys. Get out, go bass and bonsai. I have not had any issue. If it's older stuff, and feel free to ask me or just ask somebody else that does BFS, whether it be the Real Test, Roar Fishing, Hobie One Kenobi or whatever. If you see something sounds like a good deal, jump on there, ask me, ask them, in the comments. You can ask all of us at the same time until one of us answers you back if you're impatient about, you spot something on AliExpress. The Real Test was on there asking you guys today about that horrible, nasty looking Cast King reel. No, that reel sucks. Looks like to me. I'm not any fan of. After the Zephyr was okay, I tried to talk myself into it. No, the Kestrel, no, overpriced for what you can get. You can get a lot better, in my opinion. The Valiant Eagle 2, which shouldn't even been called a Valiant Eagle. It's nothing like the Valiant Eagle. Should have been called a Kestrel for us cheapos. And then, I don't know. I'm not a fan of Cast King. Matt's talking about getting a couple Cast King reels to try. But the ones I've seen right now on there that I'm looking at, of course, are the LingL type variants. But then there's that cheap one I've talked about, and I even showed you guys in the video. It kind of is greenish looking with some gold. Kind of looks LingL-like on the gold around the edges. But it's only like 50. I want to say is it $58? That reel, in my opinion, is probably not going to be quite the quality. It can't be if it's only $58. But I think that'll be good enough reel that it can do a lot for $58. I just paid $30 for a spool from AliExpress. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Get out, go bass bonsai, but whatever you do, have fun doing it. Where's that reel at? We got to tear it apart.